What's going on, guys? Hope everybody's out there staying high speed and motivated and accomplishing their goals, whatever they may be. In today's video, we're going to be watching a brand new Army released video of Army Ranger School. It's supposed to be a 4-part series, I believe, 4 episodes doing a deep dive into what is Ranger School, the modern day Ranger School. What does it look like today? I haven't watched it yet. From what I understand, it's going to be following the path of some soldiers that are starting off with Ranger School, kind of going into why they want to go through it, what their aim is, what their goals are, and what they expect from the school itself. And then I guess during the 4-part series, we'll kind of see the progression of what they go through as they go through Ranger School. And I assume there's going to be some sort of moral to the story. Honestly, I just think this sounds interesting because I remember back in the day watching Surviving the Cut when I was a little junior high speed back in the day. And I gotta say, watching Surviving the Cut, like that super motivated me to do things like go to Ranger School, right? I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Surviving the Cut series. If you haven't, you should go check it out. They're probably a little outdated nowadays, but they were really cool back in the day. And I don't know for sure, because again, I haven't watched this yet, but I assume that the Army is trying to replicate that and bring back a little bit of the spirit and draw some additional audience out there and hopefully motivate some young soldiers, some young cats to take on the challenge and make their way to Ranger School. I assume that's what we're trying to do here. So yeah, we're going to watch this. It's basically going to be like a reaction video. I haven't really done that before. This is a little new, but I just thought it was definitely on topic. And honestly, I'm just super interested. I was going to watch it anyway. So this seemed like a good opportunity for us to check this out together and see what the Army's got in regard to portraying the ins and outs of Ranger School effectively, right? Hopefully that was a good enough intro. This video is like 25 minutes long, I think, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I say we just go ahead and we get into it. Here we go. Leaders Recon. That's a pretty good quote. I'd never heard that quote before.
The dangers facing the United States are myriad and complex. As these ever-mounting threats evolve, the need for warfighters capable of rising to the challenge is critical. Enter the U.S. Army Rangers. The Army Rangers are some of the most lethal soldiers in the world, capable of closing with and destroying the enemy on land, sea, or air. They are the bleeding tip of the spear. To become a Ranger, these men and women must brave the most brutal training the Army has to offer. It all starts at the legendary Ranger School, the crucible where these elite warriors are forged. Ranger School has been described as the longest approved gut check in the Army. Over 62 days, students will patrol hundreds of miles over mountains and through swamps under the crushing weight of their equipment. All the while, they are deprived of both food and sleep, forced to perform at the very edge of their physical limits. But it's not just the physical challenges that make Ranger School so intense. The mental strain will break these soldiers down to their core. Ranger School is not for the faint of heart, but for those who are up to the challenge, it is the ultimate proving ground. Witness this grueling test of strength, endurance, and determination through the eyes of those who lived it.
Pretty cool so far, right?
When I was younger, I used to always look at my dad's photos and I saw him in the military. And I look up to my dad, so I definitely thought it would have been a good idea for me to follow his footsteps.
It was really beneficial for me and my family. At the time, my mom was working 2 jobs and she was supporting me and my 3 other little siblings. And well, I can get papers for her, and not only that, but help out with the bills.
I used to be a scouts commander back in Kenya, so everybody knew like, hey, he looks like you're gonna be in the military one day. So I tried my luck in the Kenyan Army, then I came to the States, met some recruiter, they told me, hey, you know you can join the American Army. I'm like, oh, sweet. This is what I wanted to be my whole life. So I came to the Army, and here I am, working on pursuing what I need to do. to accomplish my dreams.
Got 4 children.
That's crazy.
And a
Well,
dog.
good
Holly.
for him. I think that's pretty awesome.
So,
What a story
yeah,
already,
great family.
right?
They're very supportive of what I do in both my civilian career and military. My wife's awesome, willing to take care of the 4 kids while I'm gone. So she's a real trooper here. I'm just whatever.
I'm married currently, and I have a 4-year-old girl. She was very supportive, actually. She was a military brat herself, grew up in it. Her father, her late father, was in the 25th ID. He went to Ranger School himself. He actually has a picture. He is holding her when she was about 4 years old in his BDUs after being pinned with his Ranger tab. So that's the plan. That's the plan.
Badass.
My husband and I are
Hopefully he makes
dual
it.
military. So he is Ranger qualified as well. He was definitely the biggest cheerleader for me the entire time, and he graded my push-ups probably every single day. I would say, are these good? Are these the right way to do it? And he really pushed me. And I had to tell him, I was like, I need you to be very strict and hard on me whenever we're training for this, because I want to succeed, and I just know that he wants me to succeed.
I think at this
I have
point,
to say it.
it's
I'm actually
all the
glad that there's a
people
female.
I'd
We
be
actually
letting
get to
down,
see what that's
if
going to
I
look like, hopefully behind the scenes,
drops,
right?
or
I know there's a
you
lot of you out there
anything
that
happens.
would be
So
interested in that.
initial feeling was that, like, you know, what am I going to tell my parents? Because they've supported me for so long. It's kind of one of those things that now I have, you know, people in RTOI that believe in me, believe that I'm going to make it through. My friends. So it's kind of that factor of, you know, I can't let these people down because they have these expectations.
Hold on, real quick.
That I need
just
to.
I know I'm taking up time here. That was the Ranger Team Leader Initiative? Not familiar with that. Do you guys know what that is? Ranger Team Leader Initiative. I'll have to look that up.
Believe that I'm going to make it through. My friends. So it's kind of that factor of, you know, I can't let these people down because they have these expectations of me that I need to validate and prove.
I will say, whoever's running the Army media team nowadays has been crushing it. They've been coming out with some really good products lately. So this episode is called The Creed. If you're not picking up on that. Again, I think it's going to be a 4-part series, yeah. RTAC, here we go. So RTAC is the course you go to
Ranger
get you
School
ready
is
for
the best
Ranger.
life insurance policy for our Army. And it goes back to enhancing the human capability, because it will always end with 2 people facing off with each other, and we need young leaders that are Ranger qualified and go through the things that this course puts
So it looks
them
like they're going through the
to
old
be able
RPFT.
to close with and destroy the enemy.
You guys weren't tracking, there's a
and
new
defend our
RPFT
nation's
now, new
interests
RPA
forward.
2.0.
So right now
We're
we're in the
still going through it
RPFT.
anyway.
We're assessing, make sure these Rangers
Still
are
trying to
physically
figure
fit
out what that
enough
looks
to
like.
go through the physical demands of Ranger School.
It's exciting. That feeling of stepping off that bus, knowing I need to take the first steps at RTAC. You know, I'm gung-ho. I'm 100% in. I'm ready for it. You know, give your 100%, give your all.
The Ranger Training Assessment Course is a 14-day program of instruction in 2 phases. The first phase focusing on the Ranger Assessment Physical Fitness Standards for Ranger School.
We're conducting the Combat Water Survival Assessment, also known as the CWSA. The reason why we're doing this is we're looking for confidence, ensuring that they're not going to panic, because we do conduct waterborne operations, and that they're able to perform such operations in the future.
RTAC is like a baby step to Ranger School. So it like give you a version of what you should expect at the beginning of Ranger School. So it feels like an awakening call.
So what's happening right now is the students are conducting planned navigation. They need to achieve 4 out of 5 points today in order to continue on in our pre-ranger course.
The thing with this course, there's this big old creek called the V of Death. And well, I had to travel across the creek, which you're not supposed to. They tell you, don't go through the V of Death. People sink, people get stuck. But I was actually trying to, get this over with. I'm trying to get my 4 points out of 5. Once I got to the creek, seeing how deep it was and how, it's like I was jumping from tree to tree. And then after a while, that kind of didn't work because there was a big old lake.
You don't want to go into the creek. Hopefully that was a lesson learned for him. We'll
water.
see.
Like there's no trees, no stumps that you could step on, nothing like that. And I was like, okay, get wet and get a little cold, or pull out my radio, or just tell Soren to come pick me up. So it's one or the other, and I'm not a quitter. So I went for it. I dove into the swamp, started swimming. I was like arm deep into the creek, and I was just swimming. It smelled like booty. I'm not gonna lie. I actually ran into a boar midway through the creek, and all I hear is, and I was like, "Oh, what is that? What is that?" Right? And then I just see this big old freaking boar just running around in circles all around me, and I'm just standing there still for 30 minutes. I'm like, yo, I gotta make time, otherwise, they're gonna drop me for not making time. And I was scared. I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen big animals like that. Other than that,
you said you saw a boar.
I'm a city boy.
A wild pig. There's definitely boars out there.
And I threw it towards the trees, and I seen the boar take off that way. So once he took off that way, I took off this way. And then once I made it out the creek, it was already I had 30 minutes left to get back. I just started running, and then it was 3 kilometers worth of running. And once I got 1.5 kilometers in, I was just yo, no cap. The whole time in the creek, man, I don't know, I had a whole panic attack. I was, damn near finna cry and everything, I was really scared that I was gonna get any time.
You'll be all right.
I ended up finishing with 10 minutes left of those 5 hours that they gave us, and
it's gonna get a lot worse.
And now I'm still here.
The second phase is the collective training tasks associated with patrolling, ambush, and recon missions while at Ranger School.
Ranger training tasks are important to prepare them for all the tasks that Ranger students will perform with respect to the 2 machine guns, the Claymore, the 2 radios. That Ranger will be able to perform those tasks
a couple of years ago, something like that,
proficiently,
part, right?
and be able to support that squad during recon or ambush missions that they will be conducting during the Darby phase, the patrolling phase of Ranger School.
We've tried to replicate everything that the soldier's going to see through the Ranger assessment phase and Darby. They can make it to the mountain phase of Ranger School. They have at or about an 80% chance of being successful in graduating.
So what's the first thing Rangers we're going to do whenever we get behind a gun? Safe direction, we're going to clear. So safe direction, palm up. You're going to move your hand to the charging handle, move the charging handle to the rear. You're then going to place a weapon on safe, pushing the charging handle to the forward position, palm up. You're then going to move into your 5-point check.
We're one of the only pre-rangers in the force that literally every one of our Ranger instructors become Ranger instructor certified through the RTB process.
He's going to read task initiation standards. Your task is telling you what exactly you need to do. What does it say? And place the Claymore, and then what? And fire it.
Claymore, Claymore, Claymore.
Good. Ranger School is not a tactical school. Ranger School is about leadership, right? It's easy to lead soldiers when they're well-fed, rested. You're tested at Ranger School to lead soldiers when they're tired, hungry, dirty, and they're unmotivated. So we do that here. We give them.
So there you go. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Ranger School is a leadership school, and I definitely agree with that. I don't know if you guys caught that, though. It said 9-mile ruck march. It's definitely longer at Darby. I didn't go to RTAC, so this is actually new to me to see this. I do believe that it does increase your chances of being successful if you do go to RTAC or any pre-ranger in general tremendously. So definitely do that if you get the chance. I wouldn't try to avoid it. But anyway, 9 miles. I don't know what's up with that. Let's see.
Give them the tools and the confidence to be successful.
For the 9-mile ruck, I think a lot of people are trying to minimize injuries. We just did a lot of physical activity in the last couple days. A lot of people are hurting their knees, they got blisters.
It's one of my favorite things to do. Just put the ruck on. Are the RIs going to be yelling again? Yes. You're not going to.
I like rucking too.
No, that's all good.
One of my favorite things to do too.
I prepared for it a lot back in Quebec, and it was a lot colder there with snow. So it's more mental than anything when I think it comes to rucking.
Try to focus on that a lot, just not suffering unnecessarily, but just understanding that I have to accept that it's gonna suck.
Yeah, embrace it.
Originally, it was called the Pre-Ranger course, and it was developed by at the time, Sergeant First Class Sider and Lieutenant Jameson Kirby.
Literally out of the back of a pickup truck with a minimum amount of OCIE rubber ducks. And then it eventually located itself here at Camp Butler Warrior Training Center, where we've really been able to drive more Guard soldiers through RTAC and the Ranger pipeline.
At the time, the National Guard had a single-digit graduation rate of Ranger School, and last year, our first phase of Ranger School completion rate hovered around 80%, and of those that made it through that, they had a 90% chance of making it through Ranger School.
That's pretty good.
20 boards are the classes we give the Ranger students when they get here as part of the first week, and it's an explanation of exactly in-depth detail of how they're going to execute all of our battle drills. So reactive contact, squad attack, taking indirect fire, break contact, executing a link up, CASEVAC. So it's getting into extreme detail of exactly what each Ranger's responsibility and role is within that battle drill, so that way they understand their role.
People come in nervous about the unknown, not understanding, questioning themselves and their abilities. And by the time that they finish RTAC, they have a greater understanding of themselves, and a more confident soldier emerges while operating with other members of the team. And those same individuals that are moving forward, that have met the standards and completed all the requirements, will be over at Ranger School with them. So they may find themselves in the same squad and or platoons with some of their classmates, which gives a atmosphere of familiarity and really helps tend to encourage them to say, hey, he or she is still here, I am too, let's do this and see it all the way through.
Operations orders are important because they emphasize all of the nitty-gritty details. Anything that could come up during an operation, your terrain, your weather, enemy situation, as far as like, how is the enemy arrayed? What's their most probable course of action? What's their most dangerous course of action? What are the friendly units doing? Where are they? Any detail regarding this operation is lined out in this order.
Do y'all know why they use wool blankets for medics? Because even when it gets wet from all the blood and stuff, it still stays warm.
Yeah, so like when so I checked out, it'll be like it. Hey,
Planning bays still look the same.
No later than 06.
I'm feeling pretty confident. You know, we've had some great instruction so far, some great classes, some pretty well smoothed out PEs, and now it's time to actually implement what we've learned and see how we act as a squad. This is our first lane going through as with these new squads, so we'll see how it goes.
We're gonna make a lot of mistakes, but we're here to learn, so that's what it's all about.
We rehearsed, so hopefully that helped a little bit.
It's probably gonna be a shit show.
Should be so much fun.
A lot of fun. Going right through pretty close to the swamp. All these new tie downs, so.
Yeah, you tie everything down at Ranger School,
Perfect
everything
weather.
down. It's ridiculous. There's no excuse to lose anything
It
at Ranger
truly
School.
is a leadership course from the absolute start to the end. So you're doing that whole planning process with your team. So you have to rely on your other guys that they're actually going to give you a good product back.
Logistics, maintenance, transportation, talking about load plan, bump plan. Your bags are packed, your flicks are loaded, you got weapons tied off to your flicks.
Security element's gonna get off, start pulling security on the road, and then we're just gonna start tossing rock. We're gonna grab whatever rock we have and get it into the wood line.
We are gonna SP and then arrive at the infiltration point.
Yeah, so you guys see all the planning products, the bays, all those plans they had written out, the terrain models, like
They have
the Ranger
6 to 8
students, they do
man
all of
squad
that. It's
maneuvering
all
in the
done
area.
when
They
you're there
have
in school.
a
They already
priority
do
to
all that.
target U.S. forces. So
you have to do it
we
well.
go to target on our backs for this operation.
Security of the individual. Search him how? In a quadrant method.
Clear the magazine, lock the bolt to the rear, make sure nothing else is on them, all right? But one person, roll that person over, make sure there's nothing under them. The other person, barrel on, all right? Go.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It seemed like nobody knew what was going on. So you got in the wood line and then you're all clumped together in a little line. When you get off that vehicle, you should be immediately like scanning the area, looking around for enemies. But in this school, like lean forward, right? Like you know you're about to take contact, be prepared to take it.
So that was just a quick AR from
address the detail,
probably
the
the
squat
movement
attack, drop
to
the
wherever,
rocks, the
wherever they
withdrawal,
were to
all
where
that
they are
stuff.
now
Bam.
from
The
the
fact that
RI,
you're
telling them what they did
indirect
wrong.
in and
Probably
around that
a few
area
things
of
what they did right
contact.
too, but we didn't get that part.
Clock 300 meters. 300 meters. Go.
Some of them are really panicking a little bit right now and trying to get all of those details.
Once we close the distance to conduct ambush, we've done all that necessary reconnaissance of the terrain, the analysis of weather. Right? It's not just a general movement now, it's a specific scheme of movement.
As we continue to maneuver around, we are going to have our next CCP at the security hall.
I told my family, I broke the news to them. It was a challenging experience because, raising one kid by herself. So she supports me all the time. But at the same time, she didn't want me to go. She was tearing up, but she was happy for me at the same time. So it's challenging.
I don't even know how I'm going to write a love letter, but I'll try. Hopefully she writes one back. But yeah, that'll definitely be a new experience for us.
We're still one of
you don't get like phone calls and stuff in range. You get like one or two per phase, but it's not something you just get forwarded every day. You gotta write letters.
My family, thank God every day for it.
Like the olden
understands
days.
The commitment that it takes. Hopefully 62 days. That's what I need to continue to strive for.
I enlisted in high school, so I was 18 years old, but I got married about a year after that to my high school sweetheart. It's just been an amazing experience. She's my #1 supporter, my best friend, and just an amazing woman. When I first brought it up to my wife, she knew that it was something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. I thought to myself that if I wanted to be the best leader that I possibly can as it pertains to infantry tactics, then I need to go to the premier leadership school of the Army in order to do so. I think both of us were just happy that I finally had the opportunity to go.
The Ranger Training and Assessment course pairs soldiers
Dude
for
loves
the
his
rigors
wife,
of
huh?
Ranger
Good
School
for him.
itself. We saw a need for the Army National Guard to have a program to prep soldiers going forward to Ranger School. So it prepares them and it shows them what right looks like before they go to Ranger School.
Having completed their recon of the ambush site, it is time to emplace their teams. The leadership is nervous. So far, the patrol has not gone well. But if their ambush is successful, it may be enough to turn the day around. If not, they could be denied entry to Ranger School.
Do something, Ranger. Somebody wasn't doing the right thing.
So you're gonna be black. Yep. He's gonna be gold.
Rangers, how do you guys think this patrol went? So we started off like really bad, okay? Like, which way are we going? I show him we're here. I'm like, hey, we're going this way. It's like, okay, this way, roger that. Like, everybody knew we were in the RP, but nobody knew where we were on the map and nobody knew where we were going. When we did the recon, who was on the recon? What did we do? As I was sitting here watching,
It's not looking good.
like, you just paralleled the road the entire time.
It sounds
you just
like a
ran
no-go
right
to
up
me.
and
We'll
down
see.
this whole area. That's the only thing I said you don't have to do. Here's what violence of action is, okay? Everyone's like, oh, I want to see violence, I want to see violence. Here's what violence of action is. It's leaning forward and acting on the objective aggressively. When I hear as the BTL, ceasefire, if I'm the BTL, I hear the squad leader say ceasefire. Ceasefire, ceasefire. Okay, everybody ceasefire. Left side, reload. All right, left side, you reloaded? All right, right side, reload. Right side, all right, right side reloaded? All right, squad leader, I'm ready to push. Can I push? I'm ready to push. Fire without maneuver is a waste of time, and maneuver without fire is suicide. We can't sit here and just keep firing all day. Where are my other 3 249 pouches? Squad leader, I have 810. By 812, I will have those pouches, or we will continue this all night.
Only the top performers will be selected to move forward into Ranger School.
That didn't sound
The
too
real
good.
challenge is
Pretty typical post-patrol briefing, I would say, but didn't sound very good.
Now. Honestly, just ready to hit this off.
I really want to be like pushed at that physical limit of no sleep, no food, and I want to see actually how I come out of it and how I show up.
I know it's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging day by day, but if you look at it day by day again, task by task, and just keep fighting on to the Ranger objective, as they say. Many soldiers have done it in the past, and many soldiers will continue to do it, so I want to be one of those soldiers.
I definitely feel after doing the RTAC program that I definitely feel more prepared. The fact that this is run by the National Guard and has such a high pass rate is very impressive.
I'm not going to take a break until I finish it. I can't, once I start something, I can't quit it. Not until I accomplish what I came to accomplish.
I am nervous. I am questioning all the decisions in my life and thinking like, you know, this is it, I need to perform. So I definitely have all the nerves that you would coming up to some big challenge, but I'm not gonna go home. I'm gonna do what it takes to get it.
So this is Darby. The next episode is gonna be Darby. Darby phase. It's the real CWST. The combat water survival assessment they were doing before is kind of like a dumbed down version of the actual CWST that you'll do at Ranger School. There's Malvesti Obstacle Course. This is all like the first week of Ranger School. There's your first airborne up. Jumping into Darby phase. And patrols. They didn't show the Darby quick. Yeah. Okay, and then the rest are credits, so yeah, so that episode appeared to be just an episode on RTAC, which is a pre-ranger course run by the National Guard. It is located at Benning, and it is very well known for having a high success rate for those that go through it, who then go on into Ranger School. I didn't go to RTAC before I went to Ranger School, but I've heard of a lot of people doing it, and they always said it was a good idea to get a slot for RTAC if you can before you show up to Ranger. There are different pre-Ranger schools out there across the Army that you could go to, but from what I understand, RTAC is, if not the best, it's one of the best ones. So that was kind of like a glimpse into Ranger School, I would say. That's like pre-Ranger School, right? Pre-Ranger. But I think it's pretty cool that they did that, because it really does seem like it's going to follow the whole story of what it feels like to go from start to finish of what is Ranger School, right? So what they'll probably do is RTAC episode 1, and then there's 3 more episodes, so it'll be Darby phase, Mountain phase, and then Florida phase. That makes sense to me. And we'll see some dudes and dudettes that make it through, and we'll see some dudettes that don't make it through. I'm rooting for all of them at this point. I guess they didn't let us know here at this episode if they made it through RTAC or not, the ones that were interviewed. I hope they all did. But yeah, I mean, that all looked pretty legit to me. I think that was a pretty good behind the scenes version. I'm hoping they continue that trend as we go through this. That was way better than the Surviving the Cut series. No offense to the Surviving the Cut series. You know, I always thought it was really a good series, but they did kind of lack in some of the realness of what Ranger School is. That felt really real. I could relate to all those things that they were showing, and it didn't seem like they were blowing smoke anywhere or anything like that. That felt like Ranger School to me. All right, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to continue to watch these as the episodes drop. I'm actually really excited now for the next episode, and I think it's really cool that the Army is bringing that much exposure to Ranger School. I hope that as the episodes continue, that trend continues. I'm actually excited to see what it looks like nowadays. From what I understand, not much has changed. There might be some small little tweaks, but nothing major. So I think it's good that we're bringing that sort of exposure to not only the force, but those that are looking at joining the Army and they have aspirations to go to Ranger School. This is a great way to provide that sort of of information and let people know a little bit, give them a taste of what they're signing up for. You know what I mean? And you guys know, if you've been following me on this channel, that's something I've always been trying to do, especially when it comes to Ranger School, is bring more exposure and just bring some more information to those out there so that they're not just going into something blind. You know what I mean? It only, in my opinion, makes soldiers more prepared and more motivated to go out there and do great things. So, and you can tell by all the interviewees, they all had their own unique reason for going through Ranger School. Some wanted to be better soldiers, better leaders, which is undoubtedly something that will happen when you go through Ranger School, more than likely. But I think the real thing that you get out of going through Ranger School is just learning about yourself, and I think you come out a stronger person with a much higher level of mental fortitude and grit, right? And that's what I think the main objective of Ranger School is to create that soldier, that person, right, that you just feel like now going through something like that through Ranger School, that the possibilities of challenges that you face in your life, although endless and uncertain, you have a confidence that just tells you there's nothing you can't do, right? That's kind of the idea of that's what you're trying to get out of that training is, you know, you can just keep going. You just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other and not quit. And if you do that, you'll eventually get to the finish line and you'll get that tab. Let us know what you thought about that episode in the comments, and if you think the Army's doing a pretty good job with their media team. I definitely think they're doing a much better job than they used to anyway. I mean, that was pretty cool. That was like a very well put together presentation. It felt like, you know, something that came out of Hollywood or something. So that's pretty good. They're not sparing any expense, and I don't think they should. So yeah, looking forward to the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know that was something new for this channel. Besides that, I've got nothing else for you, and I will see you on the next one.